So today we're going to continue talking about the Pythagorean theorem, and we're going to use it to find the length of the hypotenuse, or the distance between 2 points. Alright, so to find that, if you're given the triangle, you're going to count spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to plug that into our formula. Alright, so our A is 4. Our B is 6. And then we don't know yet what our C is. So we're going to keep that as x squared. Alright, so this simplifies to 52. And then remember, to get rid of this 2, we square root everything. So I'm going to cancel that out, and I end up getting 7.21. So that's the length of this triangle. Alright, so now we're going to do that down here, but there's a different way we can do it. So what we did here is we looked at the difference between our x values. How am I changing between this point and this point? And that was the length of B. But remember, it doesn't matter the order that it goes in. All that matters is that it needs to be squared. Alright, so then there's that plus sign, and we're going to square something else. So we're going to square this other side, which is changing between our y values. So y1 minus y2. And remember, to get this letter, this c, or this x over here, we did the square root. So we're going to square root. So that's where you see this formula come into play. Alright, so now we're going to label our 2 points. So that is 2, 7. And this point is 6, 4. Alright, so now I'm going to subtract my x values. So I have 6 and 2 squared plus square my y values, so 4 and 7. Okay, and then if you put this whole thing in the calculator, you're going to get 5. So that's the length between, or distance between these 2 points. Alright, so let's try that over here. So this point is -5 and 4, and this point is 3, 7. So I'm going to plug in my numbers. So we have -5 and 3, and 4 and 7. And then this simplifies, if you put in the calculator, to 7.62. So the distance between these 2 points is 7.62. And again, for either of these problems, you could have made a triangle and counted the spaces. So this would have been 1, 2, 3, 4. This would have been 1, 2, 3. And then you could have used this formula. This would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this would have been 1, 2, 3. And then again, you could have used this formula, the Pythagorean formula. Alright, so now we're going to move on to something a little bit different, and that's finding the midpoint, which there's my keyword point, so that means it needs to be an ordered pair when I'm done. So I'm going to have an x value, and I'm going to have a y value. So we're going to have 2 different answers because I have 2 different lines. Alright, so the first thing we want to talk about is our x values. So just like we did up here where we found the difference between the 2 points, here we're going to try to find the number in the middle. And if you remember from statistics, with my median, I can add the 2 points together and then divide by 2. So it's going to be the same for both the y value and the x value. Alright, so this point right here is -7, 6, and this point right here is -1, 6. So I'm going to go ahead and add my x values together and divide by 2. So -7 plus -1 divide by 2. 6 plus 6 divide by 2. And then this simplifies to -4 and 6, and let's see if that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's where that point is. That looks like it's about in the middle, so we did that correctly. All right, so now let's try this one. So 2 points. This point right here is 7, 3. This point right here is 7, negative 8. Again, I'm going to add my x values together and then divide by 2. So 7 plus 7, divide by 2. 3 plus negative 8, divide by 2. And then this simplifies to 7 and negative 2.5. Let's see if that makes sense. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, negative 2.5. That does look like it's in the middle, so we did it correctly. All right, let's look at this other example. So we're going to do the same thing. We are going to find our 2 points. So we have negative 6 comma negative 3 and 7 comma 6. All right, so I'm going to add my x values together. So we have negative 6 and 7. Again, divide by 2. And then we have negative 3 and 6. Divide by 2. And then this simplifies to 0.5 and 1.5. Now let's see if that makes sense. So 0.5 and then 1.5. That looks like it's in the middle, so we did it correctly.